I wanted to show you guys how to grease these axles. These are a Dexter axle. This is on my carry-on 6x14 trailer from Tractor Supply, and I wanted to just kind of go through these bearings just for my own peace of mind, so that I won't be having any problems going down the road. So brand new, these did come. There were grease on both the inner and outer bearings, so I like to see that they've gone through these. However, I just want to go through them again and just to double check. So I have the tire pulled off here, and the trailer is jacked up. I have 4 of the famous Harbor Freight jack stands that I did get replaced, so it should be fine. But we need to take off this dust cap, and all you do is you just hit this thing and spin the hub while you do this. Sometimes it takes a little while, and just like that, there is the cap for the hub is off. And now we will take the this hub here. You guys can see this. This hub has there's like this little clip on here, and you just take a flathead screwdriver and just wedge it in there, and that is how you take this off, just like that. I guess it's not like a carriage nut or anything, but it is it does hold the nut tight. So we have that there, and then you'll need a 38mm socket. This is one from Harbor Freight, 38mm, or 38mm, and then you just spin this off. And actually that was loose already. Some of the other ones were semi-tight, so spin this off. We'll put that nut aside. And now we are ready to pull the hub off. And I generally kind of be gentle and take there'll be a washer on here. So there's a washer and the outside bearing. You guys can see that. A washer in there and the outside bearing. So we put them off to the side. And so I don't get any grease on the hubs, all I'm doing is just wiping off my gloves kind of every time I do this or touch that. And then this whole thing should come off relatively easily. And you just kind of grab this, give her a little wiggle. There it is. There is the hub with the seal and the brake drum, kind of all in one. But now we just get to clean this up and pull out that seal and pack that bearing. So hopefully you guys can see, there is a grease zert here on the end, and then it pushes grease out in front of where the bearing rides. There's a little hole right there. I think you guys can see that. And I don't think there is a second one. No, just one hole spreads the grease out in there. And the grease in these, this trailer, like I said, is brand new. And I don't really need to do this, however, I just want to do it for peace of mind. But it looks like they used Lucas Red and Tacky grease. So I'm glad to see that, and I'm just going to take this apart and repack it. But there is a Made in USA sticker right here. I'll pull that off. You guys can see. Maybe. There it is, Made in USA. So that's nice to see. Now that we have the hub and brake drum off, we need to take out this seal. And to take out this seal, what you use is called a seal puller. You have to be pretty careful with these. They say you are not supposed to reuse the seals. However, if I can get this thing out without damaging it, I will most certainly reuse this one. 4 seals for this these Dexter 3500 axles were, I don't know, like 20 bucks or so, but I've got it all cleaned up, and I am using this is like a Rockwell lock jaw or something, jaw horse. Put it to the unlocked, open this up, and we are going to clamp this thing in here. Pretty much like so. Lock it down, and then just tighten it with my foot, and then it holds this thing real solid. So I am using there's 2 ends to this. I'm going to use this one because it goes in a little bit further, and I want to try to get you want to be pulling on the metal, not on the rubber. So stick this down in there, and then I use another piece of metal here to not crush the seal. I wish this spot right here was wider on this thing. So pretty much we just stick this thing down in there like so, as far in as we can get it, and then I put this under the back side like that, and then you just have to carefully try to get this thing out. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get under it. These seals should be pretty tight. Hopefully you guys can see I'm kind of working the seal out. And voila, just like that, we have the seal out. It'd be all right to put that seal back in again, I think. Again, you can see the grease is still in pretty good shape in this thing, which is not a problem. But I just want to go through this. But there's the seal, and with a clean finger, there is the bearing, and you can see half of it was greased, and half of it doesn't look like there was much grease on there. But I'll show you guys how to pack those. So now we have to just clean this out, this whole hub assembly, and we'll get ready to pack the bearings and put some new grease in it. So I've cleaned off the bearing. This is I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read the numbers on this or not. These are actually China bearings that are in here. They're not Timken. They're UNA-D J5813AF38. And then there's a L68149. So whatever that means, those are the bearing numbers. This is for the big one. And some of you guys may have seen this. This is a bearing packer. And you pretty much just put the bearing in here. And then screw the top on, just like this. And then there's a little greaser up top here that you use to put just pump the grease in. And you don't have to take a big wad of grease and press it through. So I'm going to just pack this full and then wait until the grease comes out on the bottom here. You'll see you put the bearing in like so, with the fat end at the bottom. I know some people are going to say that I'm doing this wrong, you have to clean the bearings and this and that. This is just how I've done it for years, and that's just the way it is. That's how I've done it. I'm probably not going to change it, unless the bearings are really old and really bad with really hard grease. Then I'll probably clean them with some sort of a solvent. But you just screw this thing down till it is tight against the bearing, and you try to keep the bearing in the middle so it's not off to one side. That's pretty much in the middle there. You just tighten that down the whole way. And I like to give it a little back and forth, and that'll sometimes slide it over to one side. Well, I'll tell you, it's really windy today. I'm sorry if you guys are getting some wind noise, but I can't help it. So another little tip that I like to do is when you have to tighten that down pretty tight, and then always start out with the smaller bearing, the outer bearing first, and then you start with the outer bearing first, then the big one, and then because that whole center is all filled with grease in there. So now let's take my, this is my cordless Milwaukee M18 grease gun. If you guys are in the market for a grease gun, here is a great one. Milwaukee, as many of you know, makes wonderful tools, and they, I'm not being sponsored or anything by them. They just really make good stuff, and I like their tools, and they have a lot of different tools that you can get. So we have the bearing packer there. Put the grease tube on there, and just pump away till we see grease come out of the bottom of bearing. So now that we have grease coming out of the bottom bearing, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this or not. Can you see in there? Yeah, see how the grease has come out the bottom? So what I'm going to do is just kind of wipe things off here at the top. Then we don't get grease everywhere. Greasing bearings, as many of you know that have done this before and are watching this video, it's a pretty messy process. Gloves are a must, and that's just kind of the way things are. But we're going to spin this thing off here, and then you'll see that right there is pretty much what it looks like. So that is a packed bearing, and all of this is what came out of the bearing. That's what was in there originally, and the grease, I'm sure, is fine, but again, like I said, this is just for my peace of mind. So with a clean hand, as clean as I'm going to get it here, we're just going to pull this bearing up and out, and that is a greased up bearing. Put that on a clean paper towel, and then we will load this up with the second one. You know, once you guys have done this a time or two, it's really not that difficult to grease the bearings in this trailer. I'll get you guys a number here on this bearing, actually. So this bearing here is another Chinese bearing. This is the small one. It's a China Unity N5G20AG32, and then there's L44649 if you guys have to buy bearings for this trailer. Sometimes you guys are gonna laugh at this. Sometimes I'll look back at my videos that I've done from years ago and rediscover things, or remember, you know, whenever I forgot or something how to do something, I go back and rewatch my videos again, just like some of you guys might do. So again, we're just going to center the bearing, just like so, and then spin the cap on, all the way. And I think this bearing packer can do like 4-inch, 4.5-inch bearings. I mean, this is for like big equipment, but this tool was maybe $10, $15, something like that. And again, just tighten it, put the thing on, and hit the grease gun. It's nice just pressing a button. And I have just ran out of grease in the grease gun, so we're gonna see where this is at. Oh yeah, that's fine. So again, hopefully you guys can see the grease has all come out, and we just unscrew this thing, and then we'll put the hub back together again. So I've got the hub all cleaned up here, and make sure whatever you guys do, do not touch the outside of the brake drum here with greasy fingers, because then your brakes won't want to work. So generally what I like to do, see this little bit of extra grease in there? This grease is not bad or anything, and what I'm going to do is actually stick all of this down in here and just kind of pack things around, you know, so that the bearings has grease on this side also. You know, I'm using Lucas Red and Tacky grease, and it is, I mean, it's not cheap grease by any means. I think it's $3 or $4 or $5 a tube. So, I mean, if I don't have to waste it, I'm not going to. So we're going to take the big bearing here and drop it down and push. Give it a good push down in there, because again, you know, you want the bearing to be riding on metal with the grease in between, not riding on grease itself. So the seal that is on this axle is a Dexter Fusion Incorporated, and it is a 010-019-00. So I'm going to put the old one back in, and again, I know some people are going to say I'm doing that totally wrong, that you have to replace everything. And as long as you didn't wreck the seal too bad, in my opinion, you're pretty good. This is fine. But again, we're just trying to keep the grease where it should be, and not where it shouldn't be. So I have cleaned that off. And then we will get the, you definitely want to use a mallet to put that on. And preferably you want to use a clean mallet, because you don't want to get dirt in there. So I generally just kind of wipe things off and just gently tap it in. So bearing first, and then the seal. And you want to make sure the seal is down inside there, and I can feel it has just about bottomed out. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now we can put the hub back on the trailer here, but you guys definitely want to clamp the brake drum here and hub assembly into a vise of some sort, because then that will keep things from moving. So it's time to put the hub back on. I have cleaned out the spindle here, and all I have to do now is just put this back on and put the bearing in and do some more greasing. So again, I have the bearing and the seal in there, and the seal is pressed in the whole way. Just like that. The hub is back on again. And I have to do a little bit more cleaning here. Well, this was a horrible day to do any filming or making a video. It's so darn windy. But I guess that's the way things go, as they say, right? Alright, that is pretty clean, and what I'm going to do now is make sure this hub is pushed in as far as it will go. I'm going to hook my grease gun up to the greaser here and pump till I see some grease coming out to about here on the inside, roughly where the bearing's going to ride. You don't really want to pack these things full because the grease will expand with heat. Now that I have an ample amount of grease in the hub there, we can put this bearing on. And again, you guys want to make sure you have your hands real clean when you're handling the new bearings and stuff, or the freshly packed bearings, and do not drop it on the ground, because then you have to repack it for a second time. So we're going to put the washer on and the nut. Tighten that down using the 38mm socket. All I generally do is hand tighten these just hand tighten the nuts down, you know, while you're spinning the hub and whatnot, just so that again, you want the bearings riding on the steel, not riding on the grease. You just want to make sure that you got that tight. Well, I tell you, a miserable day. So I like to tighten this and also spin it, and you'll slowly feel the hub getting tight, or the hub being easier to spin. And that's pretty much it. And then you put the cap back on. You might have to give that a little tap with a hammer, or just use a screwdriver here and pry it on. It's pretty simple. Hopefully you guys can see that. But yeah, you want to make sure that this is tight, and that is on there, and that the hub spins freely, and it does. So then we just have to put the cap on next, and I like to clean this out also, just like this, because that right there is where all the dirt will collect. And I did not fill these caps with grease. I don't really see a need to do that, because then in the event that the grease in here needs to expand somewhere, it should expand into this cap. So we just have to put that cap on and use my mallet or my hand. And voila, that hub is good for a long time to come. So there you go. That's how you Repack the hubs on a Dexter 3,500 pound axle. I hope everyone has enjoyed my video. And if you would give me a like, comment, and subscribe for more. You guys will be seeing more of this trailer, hopefully in use as the months and years come. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.